That a hip hop album review, the one and only Mr. Yelawolf Love Story. But before we get into that, make sure you go to deadandhiphop.com. Make sure you support your boys, man. We have fan funding. Also, man, support us by copping the t-shirts, man. Everything you do, we do it because we love hip hop. There was so many different types of elements going on that after a while, like really after Love Story, Johnny Cash was okay. But like, Have a Great Flight, Sky's the Limit, Disappear, Fiddle Me This, I could have done without those. And even Chevy V, because Chevy and also Tennessee Love, that was on Trunk Music Returns, right?
Tennessee Love was.
Tennessee Love.
Yeah.
Chevy was it?
Maybe it was Bach Chevy 4.
Yeah. Okay.
Like series, yeah.
No, I know. All of these Southern artists always have that one thing that they always continue. I like that. I didn't really like Bach Chevy 5 that much. It was tolerable, and I was surprised he put Tennessee Love on this because it came out such a long time ago. But overall, I thought, look, man, I thought that Yelawolf really set the tone with Outer Space at the beginning of this album, because as you go through it, it's like that outer space and, obviously alien craft picking them up and taking them somewhere else. That's really how you had to approach this album, because it's not your prototypical boom bap or trap sound or even the prototypical Southern style of hip hop. Like, it's very country. It is the South. Like I think what Yelawolf was able to do was embody the whole entire South on this project. And I think that with the personal content, with him singing, because he sang a lot on this, but I thought he did a fucking great job. And I think one of the best ones was Devil in My Veins. Like, I was like, yo, this is him singing? I thought he did a really good job. And I felt like he was definitely comfortable on this. Because when you listen to Trump Music, the first one, right, that's when he got put on. That was hard. And then when you heard Radioactive, you got a little bit of that, and then the rest of it, we heard, and we said it on the review, where it was kind of like you heard that influence and they kind of took him out of his comfort zone. When he came back with Trunk Music Returns, it's kind of like they just left the ball and chain out and said, yo, do you. And I think that that's exactly what they did with this. And I think, what's that? Is it Best Friend that is the one with Eminem?
Yeah, Best Friend.
Best Friend. That on Radioactive, that track he had with Eminem, it sounded forced. It didn't sound cohesive. It didn't sound natural. On this, M brought that aggression, M brought that style, that flavor that makes him unique, and the M that I love. I don't always love M nowadays, but that's the M I love, and I felt that just overall, man, Yelawolf was able to bring it together and really execute in his lane, except it was way too fucking long. It was way too fucking long. Overall, I thought it was a really good album, especially following up Radioactive as his second album. This blows that out the water. Definitely bumps in the whip.
Say that again?
Definitely bumps in the whip. Definitely.
One thing I can say is that I'm glad we probably didn't review this like a week and a half or sooner, because I would have been like, no. But I mean, the more I listen to it, I'm like, okay, it's not that bad as I'm making it. I mean, it's some hit or miss songs on here. But I do agree with you. I do feel like, even though majority of this sound of this album is not a particular sound that I really care for, that country Southern type feel, but I do feel like this is an album he really wanted to make, exactly. Like opposed to Radioactive, where we was like, whoa, wait a minute, like this, and then even when we, spoke with Willpower, he was kind of like, he kind of alluded to that when we mentioned Radioactive. He was like, yeah, he wasn't really, labels made him do whatever. But I really felt with this album, he really made the album that he wanted to make and speak on what he wanted to speak about. It's just musically, I was just kind of like, no,
because it's not really hip hop, right?
And you like Devil in My Veins? I
thought it was good.
Really? I guess it's the sound. I was just like,
because I could be objective, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't really know what to expect going into this, you know what I'm saying? But I thought it was good. It's not something that, like, if another artist was making this, it's not like, oh, I'm gonna go check it out or whatever. But it is Yelawolf. I know what he can do, and I thought it was good. I thought it was good though.
I don't know. And I guess for me, and as I'm listening to this, I'm like, Well, maybe I just like the trunk music Yelawolf better.
I feel you.
You know, I think that's like what I personally what I prefer is the trunk music version of Yelawolf because it's fun. It's he's rapping his ass off and everything. But you know, of course, you can kind of still stay. He brought it in it a little bit on but I like Box Chevy. Unlike you, I do like. That's one of my favorite ones. I like Empty Bottles. That's another one of my favorite tracks on there. Johnny Cash, the title track Love Story. I like. And of course, I like Outer Space because I remember when can I say this? When Willpower played it for us, Outer Space. I remember when he had played it for us in the studio, and we was like, okay. And at that time, I'm like, okay, if this is Yelawolf, I'm getting this is gonna be dope. But then it got to, the American You, and I was just waiting for like Sheryl Crow to come out with a feature on that song. I was like, oh God, I just wasn't. I wasn't.
He was already.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for that. And then Till It's Gone, Best Friend. And what you mean Eminem brought out? You said it brought out aggressiveness in Yelawolf.
No. It brought out the aggressiveness in M.
Oh,
M
yeah. M was spitting, but yeah, I thought Yelawolf was just like.
He was more mellow. I was surprised.
I was surprised when M came with his. I was just like, But overall, I thought it was cool. Like I said, it was. I don't think I would really revisit this. I think, like I said, trunk music. Both the trunk music is the more Yelawolf that I'm gonna be like, yes, I want to listen to this. This one. I got a few gems out of it, but overall, I was just like, I wasn't ready for that sound at first. But I'm just glad we kind of took our time and waited, because if we reviewed this like first it came out, I'd be like, man, get this out of here.
You know why I'll revisit this is because like it breaks up like the hip hop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For me, so it's like I could come back to this like if I want to come out of that pure hip hop mode.
And I don't mind the content either. Like I appreciate the content. It's just musically, I'm just like, oh God, this is like too country, country for me. So other than that, it's cool. I mean, I just want to really revisit it. I got some songs out of here, and that's about it.
My first pass through with this album, it didn't bother me at all. As a matter of fact, I was pleasantly surprised because when I heard of it, it was like you could tell, and I think Ralph may have said this, like he really felt comfortable, and this was something that he really wanted to make. And on the last track, Fiddle and Me, what is it called?
Fiddle Me This.
Yeah, Fiddle Me This. He kind of said that. He thanked Eminem for supporting him, for putting out the work that he actually wanted to put out. And I think I was telling B this the other day that the country music didn't bother me at all, because when I was doing sports and we used to drive for 2 hours, to different colleges to cover, the games. And the guy that I was riding with, that's all he ever played was country music. And he was able to actually break down why he loves country music and really explain that particular genre to me. So subjecting myself to that for about 3 years, you know what I'm saying? So that didn't bother me at all because I'm accustomed to listening to it. So him actually venturing out and doing something like that, for me, I could really appreciate it. And it sounded natural, at least for me, it sounded really natural for him. And this really is like Yelawolf trying to really progress into I guess being who he really is as an artist and putting out what he feels is a piece of art for him. And there was an interview I actually saw that he did with DJ Ski where he was kind of describing his music and himself as a goddamn, what was it? Not psychotic, schizophrenic. Schizophrenic, and that's kind of that, and those were kind of the words that he was saying, and but he was saying it like in a good way, and that was kind of the approach that he took with this album. Like he went to Nashville and recorded there, so he was actually in Nashville where
So it makes sense for the Tennessee Love song to be on there.
And Tennessee Love has actually kind of helped set this whole thing off because he liked that song so much. He actually, and I think he said this, he kind of wanted to take that and kind of build the album out around that.
And I saw an interview with Willpower where he was talking about, like this really had like that outlaw type of feel and vibe to it, which is probably the reason why Sons of Anarchy picked one of them songs. I can't remember, it probably is Till It's Gone, one of them first singles. But he was like, when they were recording this in Nashville, like they were really living that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that Yelawolf is a half-stepping type of guy. He seems like he's extreme. So I think that if this is the mindset that he was in, that's the environment that he created so he can produce this. And I think he executed.
Yeah, I mean, you can, for me, you can hear it in the music. You know what I'm saying? And the way, like you said, he executed because, he was actually there in those elements recording in that city, and that's what you got. And he did a blend of the rap, in addition to the singing and in addition to the singing. And you know, for me, I was perfectly okay with it and perfectly fine. It wasn't a shock for me to hear this from Yelawolf. As a matter of fact, I think it fits him.
It was almost like time, right? Like when was he gonna do it? Because you hear it, like you heard certain elements always, but I'm just glad he kind of got it out already.
He did, and you know, he even said it like this, like there will be people that only like the Trump music, Yelawolf, and that's fine. He said, but you know, this isn't for them, and he's perfectly comfortable with that because, you know, at the end of the day, this is the piece of art that he wanted to put out, and you know, and he really did this for him, and not really for like the public or the label pressure that he underwent when he was you know, with it's not Interscope, it was the other company that was affiliated with them, but when he put out Radioactive. So overall, man, I you know, like I said, it was personal. He really talked about some things that was going on in his life. I think it was the song "Disappear" when he was talking about, you know, the teacher or the babysitter, you know, making them get naked and stuff like that. I thought that was a really powerful song. You know, for him to put that out and, you know, actually talk about those sort of things. You know, he's really being vulnerable. On that track and in a couple of different areas on this album. So yeah, man, I'm totally cool with it. As a matter of fact, I think the replay value for me is definitely there because there's still certain things that when I listen to it, I'm trying to pull out and put together. Because I was like you, when Outer Space came on, it really set it off. It has so much energy behind it, and it kind of went away from that. You know, because and I thought that he was gonna have more of that, but it didn't. It kind of got a little bit mellow, and he picked it up here and there, but for the most part it was still kind of mellow out, and I think it kind of fits with the title, Love Story. It was long, but it didn't bother me that much because I felt that every song, you know, had a purpose on the album.
I do remember Willpower playing Outer Space for us, and I remember I heard Till It's Gone and I heard Whiskey in a Bottle. I think those were the first two singles that released from this album. It was interesting to see what he was gonna do, just because Radioactive to me was such a fucking disaster. It didn't sound like him, and he didn't sound comfortable. It just sounded like it was just some shit that he just felt like he had to put out. So I really wanted to see what he was gonna do with this. And I gotta say, I'm not super happy with what I got with this record. I actually disagree with you guys. I don't think Outer Space set the tone at all, because it didn't sound like any of the rest of the record. Like Outer Space didn't even really seem to fit. And it seemed like when it started, I was like, okay. I was like, that beat. It sounded like some shit I would have loved in like 1996. Like it sounded like Jinko's music. Like dudes wearing humongous pants and crustaches, just jumping around, fucking jamming. And then like Change, I was just like, okay, this came out of nowhere. But I was like, okay, I'm kind of vibing with this track. When it got to American You, I was just like, okay, I'm worried now. Because that song, it sounded like a really cheesy Southern rock ballad. And the second I heard it, the first thing that came to mind was fucking True Colors. Like when you listen to those two songs side by side, it's almost the same fucking song. Do fuck you too. I see your true colors shining through. I can't unhear it. Anytime that song comes on, I'm like, true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let. So anyway, Whiskey in a Bottle. I think that song is fucking dope. The way he rhymes on that is just so fucking dope, and that beat, like, that's the kind of shit that I felt like this whole album should have been filled with, because it was like, you still had that country western sound, but it was still hip hop, and the way he was rhyming is just classic Yelawolf. Still on that ass like handcuffs up in you like hand puppets. Like that's the kind of shit that I like Yelawolf for. Heartbreak, I really liked. I'm sorry. Tennessee Love, I love that song from the fucking mixtape. Yeah. I thought that song was great. Oh, Till It's Gone, of course. I think I said that before. But Till It's Gone, I like the way he rhymes on that, and I like the chorus. The way he did the hook is just really dope, and I think his voice sounded good on that. And I can't help it, like when I'm listening to that song, I'm immediately singing along to that shit. Yeah, a lot of this didn't connect with me, and I really enjoy country music, but and listening to Yelawolf and watching interviews with Yelawolf and knowing what kind of country music he liked, I'm a bit surprised at the sound on this. You know, I mean, I'm into like Merle and Willie and Paycheck and George Jones, that kind of stuff, and this didn't really sound like that. This sounded a bit too polished country for me, and it just kind of sounded like, yeah, I definitely give him props for doing an album that he wants to do, but it almost felt like his influences controlled this album a bit too much, and then it was like there was this middle space that he was kind of stuck in, where it no longer sounds like a rapper that's really influenced by country music. It almost sounded like a country dude that just likes hip hop, you know? So a lot of these songs just did not connect. And my number one gripe is the same as all of y'all's. It was way, way, way too long. For 18 tracks, I feel like if there were more upbeat songs throughout this, it would have been more interesting to listen to. But I feel like Yelawolf is a much more interesting and compelling rapper than he is a singer. And I'm not saying his voice is bad or sucks or anything, it's just not very interesting to me. So songs like, basically if you shaved 5 songs off of this, I think I would have been a lot happier. I could have definitely done without American You, Ball and Chain could go, Box Chevy V could go, Johnny Cash could go, Disappear could go. A lot of times when rappers will try to do something completely different than what they've done before, usually it works and I'm okay with it, but I feel like with this, he should have pulled an 808s and Heartbreaks. I feel like he should have just done just do a complete country music record. And I know that's not what he wanted to do, but it was just when you have these two very differentiating sounds kind of stuck together, it doesn't make for a cohesive project. So when I'm listening to this and I'm going from Whiskey in a Bottle to Ball and Chain, I'm like, I'm not really, I don't know. Then you get to Devil in My Veins, and then you go to Best Friend. It's just like, it's too bipolar to make this an enjoyable listening experience for me. But I love Yelawolf. I like the way his mind works. It's just these songs, they just didn't really appeal to me that very much.
And it's interesting that you said that, because, you know, it kind of goes back to that interview that I watched, that I referenced, and where, you know, he said he was kind of schizophrenic like that, and that was really what I kind of got from this album, because that, you know, when you listen to it and the sequencing of the songs, you know, it was kind of all over the place, and you know, and hearing him say that, you know, I understood it a lot more than if I would have just listened to it, you know, without that piece of information. Not that it would make for an enjoyable listening experience for everybody, but I think for me, my understanding of how he, you know, his mind, you know, where his mind was at. And, you know, and I think for the most part, you know, it's like you say, you appreciate him doing what he want to do. And, you know, Yelawolf is, from what I saw, is comfortable with putting this out there, and it's up to the receiver to receive it. But I think, you know, and I think that's kind of where we are. But, you know, it's an interesting album. For that much is for sure.
When you look at someone like Yelawolf, and we can do this afterwards, and I'll show you someone like Hank 3. Like, they look like similar. They're dirty, white, southern dudes. So this is just me. I looked at this and I was like, okay, if he's gonna do country, I feel like he's gonna do like that outlaw country. And that, like, pop country dudes, they wear like frilly fucking bedazzled shirts and they're up there dancing, and, you know, that's not what I see with Yelawolf. So I would have just liked for this album to be a little bit dirtier, as opposed to being so polished. So I'm saying, when you say he pulled it off well, he executed it well, I mean, not really, because it's just like,
and I feel you, you know, you have more frame of reference to country music. I do not listen to country music at all. So when I hear this, and I guess it is pop and it is a little bit more popular, because at the end of the day, he's not necessarily known as a country artist. Like, this is his take on it. I enjoyed it for the most part. You know what I'm saying? So taking references and dirty and pop and all that, I honestly don't give a shit. Like, to me, it sounded good. So that's why I like it. So,
or maybe that pop country sound was created to appeal to
people that don't
more
listen to country.
You know.
Yeah, if you're watching Yelawolf, I think like I said before, like, I do feel like this is the album that you really wanted to craft and put together, opposed to Radioactive. But it's just the sound of it just wasn't what I was really wanting to hear. Or, you know, not saying that just make another Trump music. I mean, it is cool that you want to do something different and a little bit out there, but it just wasn't for me. I got some tracks. I do get some track others that I like, and I'm glad I did end up liking this album a little more than I initially did when I first listened to it. But, you know, I guess like Mike said, if you're gonna do it, just do a whole album with the Devil in the, what's the name of that song? Devil in My Vein and that stuff. So, but other than that, I'm still a fan. You know, you had some good rapping verses on this album, but it was just overall the music, that country, I'm just not with that sound.
Man, don't let these motherfuckers box you in, man. Keep proving that shit. You know, I think every project you could kind of hear where you are, and this one, I think that they kind of unleashed you, and you did exactly what you wanted to do. And I appreciate that as an artist. You know what I'm saying? And all I gotta say is, man, where the hell's Country Cousins at? Cause after hearing this, and you throwing a little bit of a crit to what y'all Southern motherfuckers already got, like, that's what I'm waiting for. So keep doing you, man. Like, don't let whoever box you in. Do exactly what you want to do, because I think it really comes out in your music. Like you could really hear it. You're one of them artists that don't let other people influence you or tell you that it needs to. Nah, fuck all that. Do exactly what's in your mind. Put it out there in music form, and I think it's gonna be dope as fuck. Like the majority of this album to me.
You know what? After Radioactive, man, I think you've admitted the mistakes or whatever you want to call it that took place with the album. I think that after that, the lessons learned from that led to this particular project, and you know, doing and putting out the music that you wanted to put out. And you know what? I mean, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with you exploring, you know, what you want to do in the art and putting out the art that you want to create. You've actually worked with a variety of different artists, from DJ Paul to Ed Sheeran to Travis Barker. So you're obviously an extremely talented guy. So continue to just explore those areas, because, you know, it makes you feel comfortable, it makes you feel good. And I think, you know, at that point, it's up to, you know, us as the people that listen to whether or not we receive or like it. And then we make our decision from there on whether we want to buy it or not. But you know, obviously you're extremely talented. Just keep doing your thing, man. So I appreciate this album for, you know, I do.
Yeah, if you're watching Yelawolf, I definitely appreciate you doing something different. I definitely appreciate you doing what you want. I just have to be honest that I just expected something a little bit different. And to FIFO's point, it's not about boxing anybody in, because I'm not telling you just to rap. I don't think I ever said that one single time. I think that if you want to do an album that is country music, do one. And do it the most. Do it to your best ability. And if you want to do a hip hop album, do that too. I just think that when you pulled together these two sounds in the way that you did on this particular project, these two very differentiating sounds, it did not come together as a very cohesive and enjoyable listen. If these songs that were purely country were pulled off and put onto a separate album, would I enjoy them more? Personally, probably not. But at least you wouldn't have the random hip hop tracks kind of sprinkled in there, making it more confusing. So yeah, but again, I'm one person. I can't speak for anybody else. All I can say is that when I know you and I listen to what you say and what your influences are, I think I just kind of expected a different style of Southern and different style of country from you. And when that wasn't what I got, it just turned into something that wasn't as enjoyable as I thought it was going to be. But I still think you're a fucking great songwriter. I still think you're a great rapper. And I'm still interested in seeing what you do next. So yeah, keep it up, Yelawolf.